everybody, and welcome back to Lex Alexis. Today, this is going to be your edition of my score predictions. Very different format that I've done, which I will explain right at the end of this video. In short, I've got to really catch up. I've really got to catch up. These games have got a very short turnaround, and I obviously should have expected this with the World Cup being in Qatar, and we're going to have this big disruption of football. We are going to have some weeks where there's very, very little turnaround of games. And over the weekend, I went to a party, because it was my birthday, well, joint birthday party almost. So I'm very behind. I've not even finished uploading my Ipswich reaction because I saw Ipswich play Barnsley. That will, I think, be going tomorrow, but I will be making the video as quickly as I can. I will be looking at comments occasionally, but mainly I'll be doing predictions, and a lot of comments I'll be able to catch up, especially near the end of the video at least. But in terms of the people, I can definitely see Charlie, welcome. Thank you, by the way, for the support. I need to get something to try and know you back. What's a good fan? Welcome. Ethan, welcome. Honeygun, welcome. Owen, welcome. You got juicy predictions for tomorrow and Wednesday, says what's going for them. Well, I can't wait to hear them. So basically, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to tell everyone now, just simply leave your predictions in the comments section rather than the live stream chat. It's going to be a lot easier for me to track the predictions in the comments, and that is what I'm hoping that everyone does as well. I might even do a community post telling everyone as well. But basically, this for now is just for a little bit of fun. You can hear my predictions, and then later on, whilst you've got my intel kind of like within, you can then leave your predictions in the comments as well. Brand new format I've done. I think I've done something a little bit similar before, but quite some time ago. I think I did this for when I was trying to rank the transfer window, but this is the first time I've ever done it with predictions. A bit like a Benjamin Bloom old style way that he used to did actually, because normally he just records videos now rather than doing live streams. So I'm going to do this time just to simply catch up, because I won't lie, I've been really trying to nurse a hangover for over 2 days. I'm now only starting to feel recovered now, and over this bank holiday weekend, I felt really, really lazy. So, unfortunately, it's just resulted me to do this way. So, I've only just realised I've been commenting for 3 minutes, and I've not been showing predictions. About our prediction league, because I think I've already seen a couple of questions about it. Not updated it yet, but after the midweek games, there will be an up-to-date league as well. That is another thing I've got to catch up with as well. So guys, just please make sure that you just remember that I am working full-time. I am trying to catch up on things. So honestly, as soon as these predictions are out, first thing I'll do is literally go back on this prediction league and make sure it's up to date, because I've got twice the work this time as well. So do give me a little bit of a slap by that, but honestly, I will be back as quick as I can. So just to silly plug things out the way first. If you like what you see, please give the video a like. It just reminds you of the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button. If you're not done so, Joe, welcome to the stream. And yes, in terms of subscribers right now, because I have got capture working, I can quickly show you how we're doing in case anyone is intrigued. Well, 1,347. So potentially by the stream we can get to 1,350. So 3 of you would need to subscribe to the channel to get to 1,350. It will be a brilliant achievement. But let's waste no time now. Let's go straight to SofaScore and start previewing these games. First game is Birmingham Norwich. Let's just go through what's happened with over the weekend. Birmingham lost. They lost against Rotherham. 2-0 they lost, which is actually a correct score by me, actually. So I didn't do so well with points for what I know, but I definitely got 2 scores. And one of the games was me correctly predicting that Rotherham beat Birmingham by 2-0. They definitely feel like that they are missing some key players in their squad. It's lacking quality. And right now, the lack of activity I've seen from them doesn't give me good vibes. They face a Norwich side who are feeling a little bit more confident now, as you can see, with 3 wins in a row. Their latest one coming against Sunderland, where that was a very interesting game in itself. Basically, there was no Alex Neil to return to Norwich City, since by that time, he was very heavily linked to become Stoke City manager, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute. Sunderland, I thought, did quite well, actually, against Norwich, for what I know, in terms of trying to compete with them. But unfortunately for them, Norwich just had Josh Sargent, who managed to be clinical at the one moment that he needed to be, and that one goal is what edged Norwich a victory. Now, in terms of head-to-head streaks, you can probably see there. I don't know if my face is in the way. I actually might move my face to the bottom left just very, very quickly, just so you can see these stats there. So, in terms of going head-to-head, Birmingham have not had a clean sheet in this game in their last 8. And look at this here. So, Norwich have not lost in their last 8, and they've had 4 wins as well. So, by the stats and by the fact that they're looking a lot better, Norwich, their 3 wins have all come in a streak right there. They're only 2 points off the top. They'll be looking to try and overtake Reading and Sheffield United as they're playing against each other midweek. As a prediction, I think Birmingham at home have been better than they have been away from home. But despite that, I think Norwich will edge it out with a 2-1 away victory to Norwich. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll have a very short 10-second look before I move on to the next game, if it will let me. Let's read some comments. People saying hi to Joe again. Can you advise, but I recommend waiting until midweek until I did. Yeah, honestly, that's exactly what I'm doing, Charlie. I'm going to wait until midweek to update it, honestly. Someone would regret not taking their chances. Yes, I absolutely agreed. I knew the woodwork was struck quite a number of times there. Would it be easy to create a prediction in the comments? But yeah, honestly, I think comments is much easier. So when the stream ends and the comment section is open, you can leave your predictions there. Right, let's move on to the next game. It is Burnley against Millwall. Now, we were praising Millwall for their start of the season, but this form here is not great. Do you see this here? 3 defeats in their last 5. 16th place they find themselves in the table with back-to-back defeats. So a 2-0 defeat to Norwich and a 1-0 defeat to Reading. And I've got to say, even with that 2-2 draw they have there with Swansea, they didn't even play that well. They had 2 own goals that gave them a point in the end of that game. I feel like, since that 3-2 victory they had against Coventry, I don't think Millwall have been particularly great. I've got to be honest right now, and I'm a bit worried about their progression there. With Burnley, as you can see, it's very tough to beat them. Only 1 defeat so far this season, which was that narrow 1-0 defeat to Watford with that Tom Cleverley goal. And as you can see there, they've either drawn or they've won. And I think a problem with Burnley already, they are definitely dropping too many points by drawing games. That 3-3 draw at Blackpool, for instance, was definitely a waste. But they responded in a huge way in the weekend, beating Wigan by 5 goals to 1. It was a brilliant result for them. As you can see there, you've got Jay Rodriguez, Josh Brownhill getting 2 goals, Nathan Taylor on the score sheet again, and Samuel Bastian as well. And I think we've definitely seen, I felt, the potential we can see of Josh Brownhill. I think he'll be a really important player for this Burnley side this season. Millwall, on the other hand, I don't know about them going forward. I know away from home, Millwall don't tend to have a great record. As you can see, Millwall are actually 23rd in the away record. Only picked up 1 point, which, as I said, was when they picked up those 2-run goals against Swansea. So Burnley right now, I definitely have a lot more confidence at them at home. Therefore, I think company might get them to back-to-back wins here, and Burnley will start gaining a tiny bit of form at the right time. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Burnley. Let's see what everyone else has to say about this. Blue Terry and Tom, welcome to the stream. It's good to see all of you. What does the Grandfather saying? Says Burnley 3, Millwall 1. Yes, fantastic. That's interesting there. What does the Grandfather? It's also gone for 2-1 Norwich there. Yep, I definitely would agree with that so far. By the way, if anyone does want to leave official predictions, comment section will be open after this game. I might bring a reminder from the community tab as well. This way is just a different way to do predictions. There's so many games to talk about, and honestly, I'm behind, really. So I need to catch up, basically, and I felt this is the best way to do it. So now we've got to go through Cardiff and Luton. We're still on Tuesday's games. Cardiff, Luton. So let's see where they are on the table. They're both in the lower half of the table. So Cardiff, as you can see, only 1 win in their last 5. They've picked up 2 wins this season. Luton, of course, with only 1 win in their opening 6. But they have been able to get, I feel, 4 great points, getting a 2-0 comfortable victory against Swansea and getting a draw, by the time who was first place in the table, Sheffield United. I think it's a great result for this Luton Town side as well. They were leading for quite a fair bit in that game as well. As you can see, we don't see many goal activity. Only 3 goals scored for Cardiff and 4 conceded, and, you definitely didn't see a lot of activity with Cardiff 0, Preston 0. Any team that plays Preston is pretty much going to be a dull 0-0 game. I've still not predicted Preston to be in a 0-0 draw in my predictions, and I'm really annoyed with myself that I've not. Anyway, going back to this one here, I think Luton with Cardiff, I definitely think Luton have improved their performances, and I definitely do feel a little bit more confident in them going forward into this game as I do with Cardiff. Cardiff at home have been okay. If you can look at Cardiff at home, you will see that Cardiff are actually 6th place. So I'm not lying when I say that Cardiff look okay at home. You know, their first home points were dropped, ironically, to the clean sheet masters of Preston North End. Apart from that, they've had a 100% home record. And when you look at away records for Luton, they're 6th place there. So you've got the 6th best home team facing against the 6th best away team. It's going to be interesting to see who edges this. But as a prediction, I got a little bit more confidence for some bizarre reason for Luton Town. I think their performances have improved. I think if they take one of their chances, I think they are experienced enough to deal with this Cardiff team. But I tell you what, I was either going 1-1 or 1-0 Luton, and I'm going to still edge Luton Town for a 1-0 away victory. I think a lot of the time we do sometimes underestimate Luton a little bit, and I'm going to predict them to win because I do think they are going to improve their form. I think they're in a good run at the moment there. Wallace the fan said 1-1. Now I'm a little bit nervous. Now I've not predicted it right now. I can't go back now. I'll say 1-0 Luton there. You put my midweek predictions on the comment section on the video. Yes, fantastic. That's how I'll do it there. And either way, I'll be able to track comments anyway. So as long as you comment it somewhere, I'll be able to see it. Muteo is talking about Tino and Angerin. I'll definitely go on to that in a minute where we talk about Huddersfield. So that is Cardiff 0, Luton 1 as my next game to predict. So we've got, I believe next alphabetically is QPR and Hull. QPR Hull. So Hull are 3rd place, but can you see this here? 10 goals they've conceded in this season. That is the joint most goals conceded alongside with Swansea there and Middlesbrough here. So whilst Hull make up with goals scored, you know, they scored 10, not quite the most goals scored. That, I believe, actually, is going to Bristol City and Burnley. They've scored the most goals. That is crazy. But they're one of a few teams, actually, to score double figures in goals. And a big, big contribution to that so far is going to Oscar Estupiñán, because he has currently scored 7 goals so far this season. He's the top goal scorer. He was a big part of why Hull beat Coventry by 3-2, which I was a little bit annoyed with that prediction because I predicted 2-2 and it did seem a bit of a genius prediction, but Estupiñán just was on fire. That's all I can say. A hat-trick within 2 in the first half and then 1 in the second half as well. Definitely concerning signs for Coventry, but Hull City in that game definitely gave me, you know, a lot of good vibes actually. It gave me a good amount of confidence in their new signings, how they've integrated together already. QPR been a very peculiar team to predict. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Very bang average so far this season, but not in a negative way, of course. Okay, the screen's going to do that. But anyway, we're back to this. So they beat Watford, which was by far one of the most peculiar results I've seen. So it really, really surprised me. You know, nothing surprises me with QPR anymore. They can either look very dominant against a Blackpool team and lose 1-0 at home, and then they can look, you know, out of the game against Watford away from them, and they snatch all 3 points with a 3-2 win. Chair, Willock, and Adoma with the 3 goals there. As you can see, Seymour and João Pedro getting involved. Ismail Assar still playing, actually, which is very, very interesting. So it wasn't like that they had a completely changed team. You know, 2 of the front 3 are still around, but Raymond Adge so far, I'm literally really worried about how he's developed so far. I honestly see him as a player that's struggling with a little bit of confidence right now. And Batman conceding 3 goals, that's not something we're used to seeing him as well. I mean, both goalkeepers were given a low rating. It was definitely a game that was full of chances and full of goals. So Watford currently in 6th, but that was their first defeat of the season. And I'm going to be very interested to see how Watford respond. You could see defensively they were so good, but those 3 goals there has now taken their goals conceded to 5, just like that. You know, they've only conceded 2 goals in their opening 5, which was a brilliant return and record in their back line there. But just like that, now concerns need to be asked, you know, whether, you know, that back line, if you see that, of Cabaselli, Sirialta, Gasper and Kamara are right up for it right now. It was definitely a very strong team, probably minus Dennis, who's of course joined Nottingham Forest. So not many excuses, unfortunately, for them there. QPR, I mean, as I said, Chair and Willock, they're the two star men who are definitely getting QPR those chances and getting those moments of quality to put the ball in the back of the net. So, what I will say with QPR facing this Hull side, they've definitely got the quality to definitely hurt Hull, and defensively, I don't really back either team. They've both conceded, the same amount of goals that they've scored as well. So they do like to bomb forward a little bit, I think, both these teams. I'm going to go for a draw, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I predicted 2-2 before in the last game with Hull, and I was quite close with that. So I'll go with this one, and I'd say QPR's already been involved with a 2-2 draw, actually, so far this season, against Sunderland. So they definitely can get involved with that. I think both teams will score plenty of goals. So therefore, I'll go for a 2-2 draw. What is everyone currently saying about this game before I move on? Everyone likes sharing, subscribe. Thank you so much, Blue Terror, for that. Definitely a new style of video that I'm doing today. QPR 2, Hull 1. Wow. Yeah, true about that. That's a good point. And it's something that I called out on as well. And when they lost really, really heavily, Hull, in their last game, actually, I thought, West Brom really humbled them. And I thought that was really going to be the start of their collapse. But to be fair, the fact that they responded with a win, it shows that they've got they've got the squad, they've got the players to respond to those tough moments, but it's consistency, isn't it? How have they got the consistency and the mental power to do it? And that is why I'm really intrigued. Anyway, next game to predict is Sheffield United versus Reading. Would you believe it that Sheffield United and Reading is a top of the table clash? They're top two in the table right now. Reading with 12 points and Sheffield United with 11. Reading top of the league. I mean, that is no joke. They are top of the league. A team that's already lost 2 games so far this season is now currently top of the league in game week 6. I think definitely it's been one of the most open starts so far, I definitely feel like at this stage of the season, you get one team, you're going through an unbeaten run. We had West Brom and Bournemouth go through their unbeaten runs last year, which kind of took them away from the pack. But look how close this is. You've got basically all the way down to Blackburn up to Reading, separated by 3 points. It has been very, very open, and that's one thing I'll definitely praise of this season. But, however, Sheffield United, I do back them at home. Look at this, a 100% home record. And with Reading's away record, they're mid-table. So, they're not terrible away from home, Reading, but they're definitely not as good. As you can see, they've actually lost their last 2 away games. But that 1-0 win against Millwall was kind of out of the ordinary for them, but they did manage to sneak one. Naby Sarr, one of their new signings, actually, with the goal scored. As you can see, they had a good spell there, and looks like for the rest of that game, it was all Millwall, actually. So, I tell you what, I think Reading are really getting a good hang of this season so far. And I've got to give Paul Ince some credit. I definitely was very sure that he was going to be the first manager to get sacked, but it turns out it was Michael O'Neill that was the first manager to get sacked. So, I've got to put my hands up at least and say, I was definitely wrong about Paul Ince. And honestly, they could sneak something there. Reading have snuck a couple of results against Sheffield United in recent history. But as a prediction, I think based on what they can offer, I could definitely see that Sheffield United know how to put in the ball in the back of the net a lot better than Reading. They've also conceded less goals too. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Sheffield United. I don't think it'll be completely one-sided, but I do think they'll have enough quality to get themselves over the line. What is Gordon fan saying? 1-1. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so it's gone for a draw. It's given Reading a point there. And I've got to say, maybe I'm still underestimating Reading a little bit, but it's a decent opportunity for Reading to even extend their lead, when they're playing against second place. But I think Bramall Lane's going to be one of the toughest stadiums to get something. So that's why I've predicted Sheffield United to get something. But let's see if we're right. Anyway, Wigan and West Brom. I don't know why I found it a bit tricky to say that. Now, Wigan had their first defeat of the season, but if you look at their season, with only 1 win and 3 draws, Wigan have definitely not started too well, I've got to be honest. That 5-1 defeat to Burnley has definitely made me question this Wigan team, going forward. That back line that they put there with Curtis Till, Watmore, Kerr, McLean, DeWeekwa, I don't know what they were doing now. Their only goal came in with a Will Keane penalty, which was even more disappointing for them, to be honest, that was the only moment that they got. I mean, I think by the looks of things, Burnley were very dominant. Wigan looked like that they had a good spell there, but unfortunately for them, if you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished, and that's exactly what happened. West Brom is intriguing. If we compare with their home records here, you see Wigan has got one of the worst home records in the league. Only 2 points that they've managed to collect at home, so they're still actually winless at home if you put away records into account. West Brom around 16th place, not done too well. In fact, Wigan have done all right with their away record actually by the looks of things, but they are playing at the DW, so they definitely need to try and get their first win of the season if they want to really, have a better start than being 20th place so far. West Brom have been a very erratic team with only 1 win, 4 draws. Definitely a lot like with Burnley, definitely playing quite well, but dropping many needless points. And, this was one that, that they were probably a little bit fortunate to be getting those points in the end when they were, put in a very difficult situation against Huddersfield, actually. Tino Angerin with 2 goals really put Huddersfield in a glorified position. But Jed Wallace, was the hero. 2 goals, as you can see there. And I do believe West Brom were denied a penalty as well. I need to look at the replays on that. But for what I've heard with results, West Brom were feeling very aggrieved that they didn't get anything because of the penalty decision. But fair play to Angerin. He's had a great start to the season, and I'm more than happy for him after seeing him at Chelsea. As a prediction, I think West Brom, with the options they've got, like a Jed Wallace and a John Swift, I think they are more reliable players that can get the job done. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to West Brom. What is everyone else saying so far? What's the going fan saying 1-0? Wow, okay, fair enough. He was supporting Wigan there. Okay, interesting. Next manager gets sacked will be Danny Schofield. Well, so far, Huddersfield are 23rd, so it's not looking too bright for Huddersfield at the moment. I feel they were a little bit unlucky maybe not to get anything against West Brom there, potentially. Right, let's go to the next couple of games. This is the last game of Tuesday's games. We've got Watford against Middlesbrough. So, Middlesbrough finally have picked up their first win of the season. It was a 2-1 win over Swansea, also struggling for points right now. And it was also a correct score prediction on my part as well, because I predicted Middlesbrough 2, Swansea 1. It was a pretty intriguing set of events. So, Ryan McGree and Matt Crooks getting the first couple of goals. I'm annoyed at myself because I took Matt Crooks out of my gaffer team. It was Joel Pirro for making things interesting with a 2-1, from the penalty spot. And it looks like Nenihan conceded it with a handball there. So Nenihan, as the new transfer for Middlesbrough, definitely needs to try and improve, I would say. But by the looks of things, Swansea didn't really compete until right at the end, which is what was really disappointing. And Ben Cabango getting sent off as well. For what I heard, I think it was down to, it may have been Isaiah Jones or one of those players doing kicky-ups with the ball, and Ben Cabango reacted badly. Like the Richarlison situation against Nottingham Forest. Basically one of those moments, and then, that got this, second bookable offence, unfortunately, there. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard from that game. As you could tell, with me being completely nursing a hangover and trying to do other things, I've not really caught up with these games, so I'm hoping that I'm talking sense in the moment. Watford in 6th right now. I briefly talked about them with their first defeat of the season. If they do keep Sarr and Pedro, I still think Watford have a chance of getting up into the top 6. But if they lose any one of them, I think it's going to be really difficult for Watford. I'm not having many confidence with Raymond Adge in that position. Isof Bio, I'm not really too confident with him at the moment. Seymour, probably a bit of an exception, but he's still not going to be necessarily the most reliable player throughout a full 46 game season, I should dare say. So it's so tough to predict, but Watford have looked really good at home. That one defeat against QPR, I think, was a bit of a blip. They did even score 2 goals in that game, but defensively they're all over the place. Middlesbrough away from home, as you can see, are one of the worst away records. 2 defeats and a draw. Now, what I will think happened in this game, they actually picked up their only point, Middlesbrough, the last time they actually played in midweek, which was away from home, which was that 2-2 draw with Stoke. And I think it'll be another draw, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw this time. I think it'll be an interesting prediction. I think it'll be a bit similar to when Middlesbrough played against West Brom. I think it'll be a tale of 2 halves. So, naturally, I think one team will get the first half, one team will get the second half, and it'll be 1-1. Watford 2-1, says Wallace and Gromit fan there. Paul Chambers says Bristol City should dedicate their victory to Nathan Baker. Yes, I did hear about that today. Really sad news actually, because he was heavily involved when I did Bristol City career mode, which will be a throwback to any OG fans of Let's Celeste. You would know that Nathan Baker was involved in my career mode there. Let's go on to the next game, which is going to be Wednesday's games. And we were just speaking about Bristol City. Well, they've got to play Huddersfield. That's the first game to predict in Wednesday's batch of Championship games. They're ninth place so far, Bristol City. I'd say doing quite well, actually. Since they've lost their first two games, they've now unbeaten in 4. 2 draws and 2 wins. Now, I will dare say I think they'll be a bit disappointed. In fact, no, very disappointed that they didn't beat Blackpool in the end. It was a crazy game, though. So, as you can see, Bowler, then Conway cancels it out. Jerry Waits then gets the lead. And then it was Semenyo who makes his return to the squad for his first start, and he manages to really turn it around. Akita manages to get an own goal to make it 3-2. But in the 90th minute, Theo Corbino, who scored late goals before for Blackpool this season, comes back again with a 3-3 draw. And I've got to say, I feel like if Bristol City had won that, if you see where they would have been in the table, they would have easily been in and around. They would have overtaken Norwich. They would have been 4th place, Bristol City. But right now, they're 9th place, not doing too shabby so far. They face a Huddersfield side, which, as you see, only 1 win and 1 draw and 3 defeats so far this season. It's been a tough start for Huddersfield. They've definitely got some good standout players, but I do worry for their consistency going forward into this game. And I've got to say, I feel like against these two teams, I think we get good history of really, really good games. And I think we'll get some goals in this game, actually. I definitely think both of these teams defensively have not been great so far. I've been putting a goal in the net. I think they've been quite decent with so far. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 5-goal thriller. And I'm going to edge Bristol City. If Semenyo's back as well, then I think he'll be the difference. So I'm going to go 3-2 to Bristol City. What's everyone else saying? Blue Terrier's saying Michael Heelick to Huddersfield. If that is a transfer link, that'll be a great signing for Huddersfield if they can get him in. Bristol 2, Huddersfield 1. Fair enough. I definitely think Bristol City have got some great form at the moment. I think it's going to be very difficult to stop them at the moment. I think that is part of my reason why I think they'll get a result. I think their home form's also really improved as well. Their last home game I watched, live, against Cardiff on my watch along, and they looked really good. So anything like that, I think they'll do the same. Coventry, Preston. I'm not going to preview this one for 2-0 because I know what I'm going to predict. So Coventry, this is actually their first home game of the season. So crazy that this will be the 31st of August, and this will be the first time that they play at the Coventry Building Society Arena this season. But they face a Preston team, as you see, Coventry, look at that. Last place, only 1 point on the table. They really need to pick up some points now. I know they've only played 3 games, but already, if you're looking at them, between them and Birmingham, there's a 4-point gap from the bottom 3. So they really got to try and pick up some form right now. Preston have not conceded a goal, but they've only scored 1 goal in 5. And I'm going to regret it if I don't do this at least once, but I'm going to predict Coventry 0, Preston 0. It's going to be very disappointing for Coventry for having their first home game. And honestly, I'm really tempted to give Coventry something for the fact it will be their first home game of the season. But I think Preston will just be the king of the 0-0 draws again. And honestly, in a way, I kind of hope it doesn't end 0-0 and finally we get some variety with this team, because it's really frustrating, seen as a neutral, that a team with so much potential is not, getting those draws into wins. Let's see what everyone is saying. Yeah, what is a God fan? No surprise. He's also predicting 0-0 so far. Paul is predicting Bristol City 3-0. Interesting, right? Ben's just uploaded, so I'm going to be as quick as I can so you don't have to stick with me for too long here. Next game to predict, if I can find it, is Stoke-Swansea. Now then, Swansea have had games against teams that have really struggled with form so far this season. Last time they did play a team struggling with form, it was Middlesbrough, which they lost out to. Now they're facing a Stoke team that have had a tricky start, but they did win their last game, which was the first game, the post Michael O'Neill era, which was a 1-0 victory against Blackburn. Lewis Baker with the only goal. It was a goal from distance as well. A brilliant strike from the young lad there. But I do worry for Swansea, though. As you can see, 10 goals conceded, the joint most goals conceded. And only had scored 5 goals as a result of that, though, with a -5 goal difference. That, I believe, if I can actually do the maths right, is the worst goal difference out of any team so far. Even worse than Coventry so far. So Swansea need to definitely fix something there. And I definitely think Russell Martin needs to find this balance. I keep saying about this balance of holding on to the ball, attacking it, and just playing with a different way. And I definitely think Stoke, with Alex Neil, which I think is a crazy decision for Alex Neil to make. I definitely would have seen Sunderland as a more attractive team to try and nurture in the Championship. But Stoke clearly sees something good in Alex Neil, you know, with him managing to revitalise Sunderland from their long hurt in League One. Maybe they're thinking he could do the same thing for them in the Championship. Don't necessarily think it's going to work straight away, but I do think it's a very ambitious and a great appointment for Stoke. As a prediction in this game, I think Stoke will get to a winning start with a new manager bounce. I'm going to go for 2-0 Stoke. I'm going to swiftly move on to the next game, knowing that Ben's just uploaded, so you guys can jump ship. So, Sunderland against Rotherham is next. So, two teams promoted from League One. Rotherham, look at that. I mean, both of them have done decently well. So 8 points and 9 points respectively. I would not have expected Rotherham to start the better out of the three newly promoted teams so far. They've done really well so far. Still unbeaten as well. They're one of only two teams still unbeaten. Them and the clean sheet masters of Preston. And I've got to say, much entertaining team to watch. 8 goals. Only 2 goals conceded too. You know, I feel like this is what Preston could be. But they're not. You know, with those goals, you can see what Rotherham are able to do. But even with that, they have only won, 2 games of their opening 5 and have drawn 3 of them there. They face a Sunderland side where, at home, I do think Sunderland are quite threatening at the Stadium of Light. But as you can see, look at that. 20th place in the table. 2 draws, which have come against, you know, pretty decent teams. You know, you've got Coventry and, of course, you've got their most recent one against QPR. But most of their points, Sunderland have actually come in their away games. They've got the second best away record. So, Rotherham, in terms of how they've done at home, you know, home they've done decent, away from home with only 2 draws. So, honestly, going into this game, I would expect to see Rotherham maybe to collect something here, but I think Sunderland might edge something. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think we're going to see too much to separate the two teams. I'm going to preview the last game, but before I do that, I'll just quickly look at comments. Charlie, welcome back. By the way, if anyone is commenting, by the way, and I've missed out any comments, I do apologise. But if anyone does leave super chats and stuff, your comments will be right in the top of priority list. So apologies if I've missed any comments, but any super chats, they definitely will be flashed down. I will be definitely reading those. Right, okay, so Blackpool versus Blackburn is the last game to talk about. Local derby between these two teams in around that Lancashire area, I guess you can call it. So, both teams doing okay for their starts of the season, but Blackburn, this is concerning. 3 defeats in a row. So, from having 3 wins in a row, they've had 3 defeats in a row, Blackburn there. So, from having a very rosy start to the season, it's now looking very much pessimistic for Blackburn now, unfortunately, there. Although, having said that, they're still only 3 points off the top, which is really crazy enough there. Blackpool to have 8 points at this stage of the season, did not expect that, you know, for them to pick 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses there. You know, those 2 losses which came up against Stoke and, of course, against Swansea near the end of the game. But I've got to say, Appleton has really surprised me. We were talking about Paul Ince being a big surprise, but I've got to say, Michael Appleton at Blackpool has also been a big surprise so far this season too. So, there's been many teams that have surprised me, and Blackpool is definitely one of those teams so far. And I've got to say fair play to them, because I think they've definitely got some interesting players that I'm really wanting to know a bit more. Kabini being one, Fornali looking much better, Bowler looking as dangerous as ever too. So they've definitely got decent players in that team. And as a prediction, I think Blackpool at home, as you may see there, so they've got 16th place at home. Blackpool doing quite a fair bit better away from home. Blackburn 11th away and 10th at home. So they're in pretty average in both ends of, the tie, Blackburn there. But based on the records, and Blackpool, being unbeaten in the last 3, I'm going to go for Blackpool win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Blackpool and go against, the odds a little bit. And I think, I've not predicted Blackpool to win that much this season, and I'll finally get them to predict them for a win. Dal Roger says, Coventry 0, Preston 0. Well, that's what everyone's predicted as well. What's the code? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Charlie. No, honestly, I'm going to do this after the stream anyway. So thanks, Charlie, for the thought there. Stoke 3-0 there with Alex Neil on their side. We have a different side to Stoke. Yes, definitely. And 2-0 Rotherham. Similar case to Bristol, which Rotherham to continue their luck. it's good that we've got that sentimentality, but I'm also, this is why I don't want to make my bias, in terms of supporting the underdogs. So that's the advantage I guess I might have in terms of not supporting any team so far. Yes, Darash, I did see. So Blackburn have now snapped up one of Coventry's best defenders, Dominic Hyam. This late in the window too. It comes as really poor timing. Anyway, that is all of the Championship. If you just come back, that's all of the Championship predictions done. So we've also got Premier League stuff as well. So this game is honestly ruthless. They're giving us no time to predict. But the Premier League predictions are not going to be on SofaScore. Instead, you're going to see them on a score sheet. So drum roll, please. The Premier League predictions are right here, right now. So, as you can see, with a London derby between Crystal Palace and Brentford, I'm actually predicting Palace to get something here. I think they've got more options. I know they're pleading out for more players. Zaha's linked with moves away. But I think Palace have just got a more rounded squad and definitely have got more match winners. I'm going to go for 2-1 Palace. Fulham and Brighton. I think Fulham will be competitive, but I think Brighton have actually looked really good at the start of their season so far. They've been the only team so far this season to beat Leeds United. And honestly, I think Brighton will continue under their ways with Graham Potter. I think he's just a really underrated manager. I'm going to go for 2-1, this time to the away side. Southampton, Chelsea, don't scratch your eyes. You actually see me predict a Chelsea win. Not very confident. I'm still not yet convinced of a Chelsea performance in terms of the final third. I'll go for a 2-1 victory to Chelsea. Leeds versus Everton. I think Leeds with their squad right now, and I think Everton currently are going through a little bit of, how do I explain this? I think right now that they are really struggling with confidence and their momentum. Only 2 points they picked up so far. I'll go for 3-1 Leeds. Arsenal, Aston Villa, similar problem with Aston Villa with Everton. Lack of confidence, lack of momentum. Arsenal, top of the league so far. They'll be singing that for days. And I'm going to make, them, continue their momentum and their good vibes, because momentum goes a long way. I'll go for a 3-0 victory to Arsenal. Bournemouth and Wolves. Wolves, I think, will get their first win here. I think Bournemouth so far this season, if Bournemouth want to try and survive this season, they'll get something in this game. But for me, I think Wolves will get something here. I think Wolves will win by 1-0. Man City versus Nottingham Forest. I'm not yet convinced with Forest. I've got to be honest so far. I know they looked okay at stages against Spurs yesterday, but regardless, I think when they face the bigger teams, I would dare say, say the bigger teams, the top 6 teams, I think Nottingham Forest still find it a bit short, and they could splash as much money and as many transfers. It is feeling a more like quantity over quality type of thing right now. As a prediction, I'll go for 3-0 Manchester City. Manchester City, despite anything going wrong, they find a way to get themselves back. They were 2-0 down to Palace and won 4-2, and that is a sign of champions. They are most definitely my favourite to win the league this year, Manchester City. With West Ham versus Tottenham Hotspurs, I think Spurs will win by 2-1. I think it'll be close. West Ham will be pleased that they got their first win of the season against Aston Villa, but I think Spurs will edge out again. I think Spurs are going to have a great start to the season. Liverpool, Newcastle. Now, this is interesting because Newcastle have actually not lost a game so far this season. And Newcastle have already drawn against Manchester City. Can they do the same thing against Liverpool in Anfield? Anfield definitely not looking as formidable as it once was. Maybe take away that 9-0 win to Bournemouth. So, in that way, it is. But if you look at the game that they had against Palace, which also ended as a 1-1 draw at Anfield as well, this Liverpool team can be attacked. And I do think Newcastle got the quality to potentially edge them. But I do think with the quality and the options both teams have, I can't edge any of them. So I'm going to go for a draw. Maybe playing a little bit safe, but I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Right, so that is my predictions for the Premier League and the Championship officially done. And it's taken me 40 minutes to do all of this. Honestly, I'm now glad I've caught up with my predictions right now. I'm going to try and get back to the Prediction League and do those calculations now. And after that, I'll pretty much be caught up. But just in case any of you need to ask me anything, I'll stay on for like a good couple of minutes just in case. Tom says he got beaten by Notts 1-0. So did Solihull Moors lose to Notts County then? That's right, National League games are actually playing actually. That's actually a really, thank you for reminding me there. That's actually a good thing for me to quickly do. Because we've got capture on, let's actually give this a go. If I can just get to the right league. Right, yeah, because there's some full times coming in now. Yeah. Okay, so let's actually show you guys what's going on so far. Don't know if you can see it. So the games in green are the games still going. The games in yellow are currently full time. So Maidstone are currently beating Aldershot. That's a good win for Maidstone. Chesterfield beating Altrincham at the moment. Dagenham and Redbridge beating Bromley by 4-1. Boreham Wood beating Dorking Wanderers there. There is that result that Tom was talking about. Notts County 1, Solihull Moors 0. Chickson for 1, getting the only goal for Notts County in the 65th minute. Halifax, I think, is that their first win of the season for Halifax? If that's the case, that's a good 3 points for Halifax there. Beating Scunthorpe, who have not had a great start to the season. Maidenhead lose 2-0 to Southend. Southend, I think this is 2 wins in a row for them now. So they're definitely starting to recover. Woking beat Torquay by 3-1. They've had a decent start, Woking so far. Wealdstone and Yeovil still 0-0. York and Oldham draw by 1 goal each. Hope with the first goal for Oldham, but it's the hope that kills you when Dyson equalises for York. That made it 1-1. I'm just going to quickly show you the National League table. Maybe not up to date yet. Wealdstone top. There's Solihull there. So that defeat there will not have come well because Notts County will now overtake Solihull Moors in the table because of that. York and Oldham currently on 5 games. Maybe it is up to date. No, I don't think it is because I know Barnet, Eastleigh playing later today, and I do think Wrexham have got Gateshead, if I remember right. They've got to play them tomorrow. Yeah, it is Halifax's first win of the season, and that would potentially take them out of the bottom 4, actually. And I've got to remember, yeah, this is back to when, 4 teams are relegated from the National League as well, because obviously we had the Dover situation where we only had a couple of teams going down in that moment there. So, it's going to look really competitive in that part of the table there. And just very finally, because someone did remind me of National League, I don't think I can get National League South, but I knew Chelmsford were beating Concord Rangers by 1-0 last time I checked, and I'm scared to see what they're doing again. Let's just quickly go back to here, as I'll quickly talk to more of you guys, and I'll find out myself how Chelmsford have done. Chelmsford versus Concord Rangers. Don't know why it didn't work there. Right, let's see this. Right, okay. I think, is it full time? It stayed 1-0, so he may have just beaten them by 1-0. Is there any chance I can see like an up-to-date thing with this? If that's the case, then I think that's 2 wins in 3 for Chelmsford, which is really, really good, I've got to be honest. What's going on here? I'm trying to find a reliable source. This one I think seems quite reliable. You guys are probably going to be able to tell me already. See you later. It's good stream. Something different today. No, thank you, Gun. National League is always hard to get promoted or relegated teams. Yes, yeah, no, it's a very ruthless league. I'll definitely agree with that. Right, okay. I think it's full time. It is full time. Right, so got live score open there. So let's just reveal. Chelmsford 1, Concord 0. That is full time. Rough with the goal. Now, is this a live table? Oh, look how beautiful this is. So, 4 wins in 6. 4 wins in 6. This is something I've never seen Chelmsford do in a long, long time. We're 2 points behind Havant and Waterlooville. Ebbsfleet, look at that. They've had a 100% start. Ebbsfleet looking like a team that no one's stopping at the moment. Concord doing a decent start as well. They had 2 wins. This is only their 3rd defeat of the season there. Weymouth, Cheshunt, and Hemel Hempstead really struggling so far. Chippenham down there. Dulwich Hamlet, Slough Town. There's Dover, who are not doing too well either. Braintree done all right, actually, all things considered. Welling's doing all right. And, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. I would literally love to see Chelmsford just finally get on the video printer on Soccer Saturday or something and to be in the National League. I would take that any day of the week. Okay, hang on a minute. Going through wrong things. Okay, I'm going to end it here, guys. So, my predictions are set. Comment section open. So, guys, make sure you comment your predictions in the comments down below. I'll be taking those comments and making sure I'll update them in the prediction league to the best that I can. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel there. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help the channel too. Please also share the channel as well. That really helps as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Charlie Brown is just saying, wait, the Chelsea lads there? No, guys, no party. He was there, but he's now gone. So I need to stop talking. I need to go and actually do some stuff. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave your comments. And there we go. That's all I'll say. Final thing before I go. How many subs have we got? Did we even... Alright, we've not changed the subs. We're still on 1,347. But regardless, we're only 3 away from 1,350. So thank you guys for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys. I'm legendary for Sony in this stream. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Get predicting. Take care, everyone. I'll see you guys soon.